Okay, so welcome back. We're going to now import and edit our Man in the Mirror track. Okay, so we do that by going up here and double clicking on our hard drive. Go up to Applications, single click on Applications. Now you can scroll down until you see Logic Pro X and double click on Logic Pro X. Okay, I'm just gonna go with my display audio. Yours might say built-in. And I have mine set to do nothing when it starts. So we can go up here to our preferences, and you only need to do this the first time you open Logic, but it defaults to having just a setup here that mimics what would be seen and typical tools that would be seen in GarageBand. We actually want to use a larger feature set going forward, so we're going to go down to Advanced Tools, and you just move down to Advanced Tools here and you click on that. Mine is already set up for it, but essentially it would look like that. And you just want to click on Show Advanced Tools, and you know, you can have them all set up. I would highly suggest having all of them on, okay, to start with, and that'll give you the deepest amount of power to get in and tweak your audio, your MIDI, your score, and anything else that you're going to need to do. Okay, so then we just go up to the top and we hit the red dot here. Now, if I go up to File and I say New, creating a new file, it's going to ask me if I want to create a type of track, a software instrument, external MIDI, guitar, bass, or drums. We're going to be working with audio to start with, so I want us to go up here and click on Create for Audio. Okay. Now, the next thing I would do, since we've done something to a track, is to save our track. And you can hit Command S, or you can go up to File, and this is where it's located at, and you will see Save. Which this is the Command key icon, and over here, if there is a quick key associated with it within the system already preset, it will have it next to what you're looking for. So this would be Shift Command S. For now, we just want to do Save. Okay, each of the save functions do different things, so we want to make sure that we select the one that is best for what we're doing. So I'm going to go now over to choose my path. Now, this arrow here, sometimes it will default and show you a screen that looks like this, and it will show you, you can tag it, you can save it and name it, and this will show you the folder, and then this shows you the hierarchy of where it's coming from. Okay, but I would like us to actually get in a little bit deeper than that to see the navigation. So then we hit this arrow and it will expand it out. Just to be easy to find for right now, I'm going to have us select desktop, and I'm gonna call this one, just as I did here, Gatel Man in the Mirror. Gatel _ Man in the Mirror. And to differentiate it from an existing one that I have on there, I'm going to need to call it something else, so I will call it Best. Okay, just because I have another one previously saved. Now down here, your system may default to being a package. I want us to call it a folder. Okay, a package will house everything under one icon. A folder will actually show us what's being held within that icon and allow us to have more flexibility with the content. Okay, the content in Logic is not just like a Word file where it's what you see is what you get. It actually is a folder and has numerous things that it points to. It'll point to a piece of audio, or point to a piece of MIDI, or automation data. So you'll find that you end up with one small file with a lot of folders within it that contain more and more content. We want to be able to access that, so we're going to select folder, and in the future it will default to folder. Okay, we want to make sure that we copy our audio files over, and you can keep the Alchemy audio on as well. Then we hit save. Now we know where it is. It's on our desktop. If I pull this down, we should see it. Man in the Mirror. There we go. Man in the Mirror best. Okay, and then there are a couple ways of importing audio into Logic. With anything with this program, there are a number of ways to do things. The easiest, by far, is just to take a piece of audio. Here is my original version. I'm actually gonna pull that in. That was contained in the main folder on your work share. So I want to pull in the original, okay? And then it's gonna copy it into here. Now the other way I can do things is I could go up here to File, I could go down to Import, and I could say Audio File, which would be Command I. And now I'm going to take this one, which is my edit version, and I'm going to say Open. Okay. Now let's see where that one is. It has made it into my audio clips folder, which is over here. I would click on that. Now I can take the file and drag it over. You will get the same result with either, but here we will see it within our audio file folder. Now, anytime I make an edit to this, it will make more and more and more and more files, but it will never change the original. The reason it never changes the original is it's non-destructive editing, which back in the day with tapes, if you cut something, you would cut it and it would be on the floor or taped together. And that was what you had to work with. Now we have a lot more flexibility. Okay, so I'm gonna click to close and hide that window there. As you see, as I move around, I can resize this window by going to the edge if I need to. And I can move this window around as well. Now, I have two files. The original one is what you're going to try and make it back into. And then the one that does not say original is the one that you are going to need to cut up to replicate the original. Okay, so you've got a guide track and you've got a track that needs some work. Now, if I just try and move this track around, it becomes kind of clumsy and hard to work with. So I actually want to make some open tracks to use for just moving audio around on. Just a little extra space, because if I try and move the audio down here, it's not going to allow me to, because it doesn't know what is contained here. Is it a MIDI track? Is it an audio track, an instrument track? So I'm going to tell it, I can go to this plus sign, very easy way to do it, and I can hit a new track. This one is a new track with duplicate settings, and we will talk about that in the future, but just the plus sign would create a track. Now, if I wanted to create 3 tracks, I would tell it to create 3 tracks. And its output should be 1, 2, and we need to make sure it's set to audio. Okay? Now, anytime I add any more tracks, it will do it based upon whatever is below. It will go below the highlighted track here. So right here we've got audio 5, and if I want to make some more tracks, I could also go up to track and say new track. Okay? And I could do the same thing. So I'll just add 2 here. And there are a number of different settings that we can load it up with. We can have it ascending, different inputs, record enabled. But for right now, I would just like to create it with no input and the defaults of everything left off. Okay, so I just created that for some extra space. All right, now there are some basic functions here that will be helpful for you. So let's go through a couple basic functions. Mute will mute the audio that is currently being selected. You can also click and drag down, and you can mute multiple tracks or unmute multiple tracks. You just don't want to grab it as a handle and move the track. If you needed to, you could do that, but for now we're not needing to do that. I'm gonna go back. There you go. I actually had done something incorrect there. We can also solo a track, which means let's say we have 5 different tracks going with 5 different pieces of audio. Let's say this is a vocal, and I only want to hear the vocal. I can solo that track. You can solo multiple tracks. If I just wanted to have the vocal going, and let's say this track had guitar on it, I could solo that one as well, and everything else will be essentially muted, or only that track will play. Okay. Let me go back here. I'm going to hit 5 tracks. Okay, now, the other thing that you should know is zooming. Here's your vertical zoom. Okay, this will zoom it up and down, and it will zoom based on what is highlighted over here on the side. Okay, it will zoom based on what is highlighted here over on the side. Here we can horizontal zoom, but one of my favorite places to go for zooming, and you can do it in a number of different ways, but is actually to go here, and here's where we have our primary tool and our secondary tool. So we can choose our primary tool, and it can be anything we want it to be. If I want to make it a mute tool, it could be a mute tool. Each of these is very in depth, and we won't go into all of them right now, but I want you to see that this is our selector tool right now. For our secondary tool, we get to that by hitting Command. Okay, so I'm going to hit Command, and then I would have my marquee tool. But I don't want to use that for right now, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it into my zoomer tool. And so when I hit it, or when I hit the Command key, you'll see that I'll be able to zoom in and out by clicking, holding down, and pulling to create a square. This is called rubber banding. Okay, and I can go in, and I could go in, and I could go in, and go really deep into the audio. Now that's so crazy, fast in such a small amount of time, that it would be best to not go that far in for most things. But if I want to be really precise with my edits, I might want to get right in here, right at this exact point. And I do like to be very precise with my edits. So if I want to cut here at this point, I can go up here and I can choose a secondary tool as being a scissor. But a faster way to do that is to hit the T button, and this will change my primary tool. Okay, so T, and then I could go down to I, like the rapper. So we got T, and then I could hit I, or I could go straight down to this. I'm just going to hit I, and now it's going to turn it into my scissor tool. So I select and cut there. Now if I want to go back to my regular grabber tool, if I just hit T twice, I select the tools, and then T again will click on my pointer tool. Okay, now I'm very, very far in. So what I can do is go back to my secondary tool, and if I just click, the great thing about this is it will take me back in steps. Okay, so here's step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5. Okay, now I'm going to hit Command, and I'm not going to move it, but I'm just going to hit click. Step 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so very easy to get in and out, and I'll show you very quickly how I could go and do something like this. I go in, 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 in. I go T, I, chop, T, T, Command, back, 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 back. And now here I am. Okay, so now I've cut out this piece of audio here, and I can move it around. So let's say I wanted to now put this one second and put this one first, which is not the case, but now I can freely move this audio and move this one and move them around as I see fit. Okay, so that will help you out quite a lot. You could actually do this a lot based on just the visuals that you're seeing between the two. Okay? All right. seems to be an overlapping piece of audio there. If we look at the audio, we can see that the beginning looks very similar to this. So just to start you off, I go in, I hit T, I, chop, back, and then chop. All right, let's get in a little closer. Right here, chop, back out. I could take T for my selector tool, move that down, move this over, because I don't need that right now. And then if I zoom in, I will see that my audio is very much the same, is exactly the same. I could even line the two up to be exact start points. So what I mean by that is I could take this where the audio is just coming in and take this audio and I can pull over on the edge, or I could use my scissor tool and I could make sure that they are tracing exactly at the same time. Okay, and if we zoom in at any point, we'll see that the two will be lining up. Now we don't want the two playing at the same time, so I will mute this one when I play it. But if I went back and forth between the two, let me go to my audio system here real quick. Temporarily using display audio. Okay, so if I play here and I play here, the both will play. I'm actually currently not hearing it. There we go. Okay, so if I play this one, mute this one, go back to play this one, they are both the same part. Or I could solo this one, take it off solo, solo this one. Now they're both playing. Okay, so there we go. We have some basic functions within Logic, understanding what we need to do for our edits and putting the song together. The one last thing I will say is we're not doing this on a grid right now, where if we had done this to a metronome, we could snap it to the grid. But this is just 120 beats per minute, which is not the tempo of the song, so the two are not synchronized. So we want to keep it on Smart, which allows us to freely move the audio around and not align it to a grid. But we do want this right here not to be overlap. X-fade means crossfade. And so when I have two pieces of audio and they come together, if I left a gap between the two, there would be a little pop of silence. If I just had this on overlap, it would be an abrupt cutoff here. Let's do it like here. An abrupt cutoff and then an abrupt start here, and we can have a pop or a click. We don't want that either. So I always choose X-fade, which the nice thing about Logic is when we put them together, it will automatically crossfade the audio. If you do it with too short an amount of period of time, it won't crossfade it. But this means this one will fade out as this one fades in, and we will have no audible pops or clicks. So to get the best result possible, you're going to want to have that set to crossfade. Okay, so now do your best to try and put the song back in the original order of Man in the Mirror, and use the space available that you create below to put it together. Make it all on one track, and try your best to mimic exactly what's going on above it. Okay, when you're all done, you can hit Command, or anytime. I've done something, I can hit Command S to save it, but I'm all done now for my work for today. So I'll go up to Logic and quit Logic, and I'm all done. Okay, thanks. Let me know if you have any questions. I am happy to help.